What's up, people? We're running it back, Drummond International. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We're excited to be back. Today is going to be another awesome day. I'm excited. Thank you for tuning in again. We definitely appreciate your support, as I always say. And I always like to bring on different people on my podcast, friends, those who I know I'm close with, who have achieved a level of success and is still climbing, and still doing a lot of things and so forth and so on. So last week was great when I had Reese Brown on and also Pernell Richardson. This week, I'm joined by my brother from another mother, Anthony, AKA Coach Duke. A lot of you out there know him as Coach Duke Burnett. Anthony, you want to greet the people real quick?
How y'all doing out there? It's truly wonderful to be here today. God is good, man. It's the best day, and I look forward to just being here. So it's a wonderful thing. It's a long time coming.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
One of the things is, man, patience is a virtue, man.
That's right.
Yeah,
this young man right here, we worked together alongside each other a few years ago, working with the youth.
Yeah.
We share a common goal with that. Today we're going to hear his story and so forth, but I'll say in the absence of his wife, him and his wife are a tag team. Maybe we'll have her on a different time if y'all can come back sometime.
That'd be beautiful. She's a wonderful person that, just to, get a lot of information out of.
Yeah.
She's always front and center. She's behind the scenes as well, doing a lot of work. So yeah, that'd be beautiful to do that,
Okay.
And so I'm pretty sure she'll be excited to, be a part of that, yes.
Yes, I at least wanted to bring her up and highlight her.
Oh, yeah.
I know today is a little different, my background's a little different, but hey, we make it work, so
Absolutely.
We're gonna hop right into it. So Anthony, why don't you start off just by, I always like to give the viewers a chance to kind of share their story, share, where you was born and raised, parenting, environment, surroundings, so forth. So why don't you share with the viewers, give them an idea of the man behind the mission.
Amen. I was born and raised in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Of course, 3 siblings, brothers and sisters, and my mother was a single parent mother at a time. Of course, I had a stepdad that came in and took over from there.
Right.
More of a caregiver, and not necessarily having time to really go up, come to football, basketball games, and sometimes that could be a little, hard and rough for us, to get through there, and that's me, like, been born and raised in Harrisburg on, of course, several First and Jackson Lake Apartments, and many of us know, viewers out there, we know where Jackson Lake Apartments is now. It's more of an elderly place and whatnot, and back then it was like a project, for us anyway.
Right.
And that's for most people who don't know, that's by the Broad Street Market, which is to Jackson and Lick. So, but I grew up there, and of course, then after a little while, when I was like 12 years old, we moved to Munich Street. So that was uptown area. I've been uptown area for all my life, So from there, just kind of like moved around Harrisburg because I had relatives all over. So, and then I, coming up was rough for me. I was the oldest brother. I was the oldest boy in our family.
Okay.
So at the time, I didn't have an older brother. So I had to do a lot of searching, for the what was right and what was wrong, that type of thing, through my uncles and different older people outside of my house. So that drew me to explore the streets and things like that. So. And that was part of that, growing up.
Yeah.
And as I grew into that, it came, to my attention that, life wasn't, what I thought it was at one time, So being, a single parent, without a father, not having that true guidance and whatnot. So it panned out pretty good. I can honestly say that God was with me the whole time. It was pretty rough though. like I said, I kind of came attached to the streets and learned more or less the street knowledge of growing up.
Yeah,
And,
right.
it didn't put me, in the right position to be more educated, to make more educated choices and decisions in life, because I chose the streets and, it just took advantage of me, and of course I took advantage of it.
Right,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So when you were, obviously growing up and in the street life, were there any mentors? Because one thing is, we're big on, you and I both,
Right.
When we talk about legacy, leadership, and so forth, were there any right mentors in your life that tried to steer you out, or was there a lot of wrong mentors that were keeping you in the street? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. Most of the time, like the perceptions of, because sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that the person, physically come to you and be misleading.
Right.
It could be a perception of what you perceive.
Yeah.
That for that time that you've been involved, like you're a sponge.
Right.
So you take in a lot of things that was wrong, and that you thought might have been right because you never was taught right or wrong. So I chose those things, and like I said, it took advantage of me, and I took advantage of it. And at that time, that's the thing. Of course, in between that, of course, I was led to do opposite, and because I was strongly, like you said, it took so much of advantage of me that I didn't make the right choice to go that way when there was very little chances of doing the right thing that I saw as a perception.
Okay.
So, but there was mentors in my life, is which what got me to this point today. Like, Daryl Martin was one of them. He big, transformation in my life with him teaching me how to, be more responsible, more, taking ownership. You know what I mean? He taught us a lot of different life skills, how to sell subs and different things like that to accumulate your own revenue, your wealth, economics, and stuff like that. So I mean, and that all came through a basketball team. So we had to earn our own jerseys and stuff like. So we wanted sweatsuits to look, the warm ups.
Oh yeah.
Look good. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So he taught us how to do that. So
So he didn't just give it to you.
He didn't give it to us. We had to go out and sell subs. We had to get our own, earn our own money to pay for the uniforms and pay for the sweatsuit. We want to look good. We got to pay for it. We got to earn it. Actually, so. And it showed me a lot of responsibility, early on, and I needed that at the time.
Right.
Although I didn't go that way continuously, I kind of got off path and whatnot. So, but he always instilled God into our life too. The spiritual aspect of it.
Okay.
He always taught us that respect your elders, respect each other, respect your peers. Of course, he's he was a professional boxer, and a trainer, and he just taught, he just volunteered all his time.
Wow,
that's the part that I really got from him, volunteering his time. He said, if you don't do anything in this whole world, give your time, give yourself to something, something positive, and so
wow,
that was a very meaningful time in my life. Although I did go another way at that time, but it brought me back. And that was not just that part of it, but then there's other people like Drayton, Corny Drayton.
Okay.
Corny Drayton and Coach Cam. Coach Campbell.
Coach Cam.
Yeah, and then Donnie Weave. Just a few, many that really touched my life, and did something for me. The YMCA in Harrisburg on 6th and Curtin, 6th and Camp.
Okay.
Did a lot of things for me as well in that time.
Right.
But like I said, as time went on, I kind of swayed off. But I still, the seed was already planted.
Yes.
So, it's predestined for me to come back to that
Right.
lifestyle, so. And I thank God for it.
Yeah. This man right here is, and we'll get to this, but this man is a mover and a shaker and doing a lot in the community. Just those who are outside of Central PA, just so you know, we're in Central Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, which is the capital of Pennsylvania, and this guy's grassroots ministry, him and his wife, they're doing so much for the youth in the community, and I want to applaud you for that, man. I know a lot of what was instilled in you from those mentors, you're passing along to the next generation. That's what legacy is about.
Right.
It's about, you taking what you have and giving it away to the next generation. And I want to say this too, so a lot of things, there were some things you learned in the street. Sounds like, Coach Duke, that has become a part of you. Some good things that you learned, because they say about street smart. Sounds like there's some good things that you learned while you were in the streets that you still apply today. Can you speak about anything like that? I know you said about economics and stuff, but working with people, I don't know. What's some things that you gleaned from the streets that you still hold on to today?
Well, one of the things is being wise, having wisdom.
Yeah.
In the streets, you got to be wise. You got to be, you got to be on point. You got to be on your toes.
Yeah.
You can't, it's never a promise for, your life. And when you're in that situation where, nothing's actually promised.
Right.
You can lose your life quick. Like blink of an eye, you can die. Even to this day, that's true. And then that's what happened. With me, I think that because I knew a lot of people. And I knew that people knew me,
right,
and they knew who I was at that particular time. I just didn't play around a lot.
You were serious.
I was serious.
Even in the streets, you was serious.
Right.
Okay.
So
right.
And then always respected people in that manners. That's some of the good qualities that I've gotten. That I've had, learned from the streets is that, you get respect, you get respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a code,
Right.
The streets had a code, and you live by it, and that was the thing that, I to this day, that I think that worked for me on both sides, in that manner. But one for a negative and one for a positive. But it overall it worked. It gave me the incentive to, do the things that I'm doing today to say, hey man, we gotta respect each other.
Right.
So
that's good. Because they say because speaking to the youth, maybe some of you are working with young people now. We don't know everybody's viewing, but maybe some of you working with the youth. And it may be an uphill battle. May be tough, especially in the climate of today,
right,
where the inner cities are really going through a lot. Because you consider, Coach Duke, a lot of the schools aren't having in-person schooling, so a lot of them are at home.
Right.
Some of them might not have access to a computer. So there's some different challenges in the inner cities now, and they don't have a lot of resources and so forth to be doing maybe what a lot of youth can do in the suburbs. So what would you say to some parents or mentors who are directly working with the young people in the inner city? How would you encourage them today, in light of what we're challenged with?
Well, in the respects of what we were just talking about, that respect level,
Okay.
the way that we can, teach them is to learn them. The only way you can learn from or teach a youth is to learn from them. Allow them to give us, give you some information about themselves.
Okay.
When you get a car, you buy a brand new car, it comes with a manual.
Yeah.
It tells you how to operate it, right? I wouldn't like to say that about people, but there's a time and point in that individual's life that say, yo, what about me? What about what I have to say? We're always wanting to, you're always telling us to listen to you and hear you, but what about can I say something?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you understand me?
Right.
And that's what they want. Most times, and I like the fact that, when you talked about, what did you learn from the streets, is that I learned to love. You know, because if you don't have respect, you know, for someone, then you really don't love them. You don't care for them, right? And you know, in that same sense, I know the streets. Sometimes it's difficult to think that, how would the streets teach you love? It did. Because people loved me and wanted to hear me. They wanted to hear what I had to say.
Right.
You know, rather than not what I have, you know what I mean? So that in respects to that, into this, you know, time now, that I developed the fact that I say, you know what, they just want to be heard. They want to be loved. You know what I mean? And that's what love is. It's you know, love is an action word. You know, we don't want to put it to the side and make it seem like, oh, love is just something I'm always giving you, or I'm always giving you lectures and stuff like that. When in retrospect, love is an action word. That means it's going to respond.
That's
See what I'm saying? It's going to respond. So, you know, you want to love them so that you can get a response.
Right.
You know, and that's the key. I mean, you know that from you and your son's relationship. And that's the relationship y'all have.
Right.
And I watched that. You know, like I said, perception of what we perceive sometimes could be wrong. It could be right, or it could be negative or positive. You know, so
well, that's good. You know, I want to piggyback off that, because I think either last week or 2 weeks ago I had a quote. It was, rules without relationships lead to rebellion. Rules without relationships lead to rebellion. So, and that kind of goes along with what you're saying. So if you're constantly giving out rules, do's and don'ts, you're always finding fault, what they're doing wrong with the young people. If they feel that law, do's and don'ts, then you eventually will lose them. Or they'll tune you out. But what you're saying, Coach Duke, is the love is the relationship. So when you start with love, when you start with caring for them, then they'll listen. Right? So
because they're people too.
Right.
You know, they're saying, oh, wait a minute, we're just not robots. You just don't program me and I just do what you want me to do.
Right.
I have a say in this. I have feelings too. You know, I'm emotional too.
Right.
I get upset too.
Right.
You know, I get angry too. So these are the things that, you know, we can't say, you ain't supposed to get angry. You're supposed to be doing it. And then we, in turn, you know, because every perception precedes itself. So when they look at us, and they see that, you know, you're not angry just a minute ago. You know, so it's like, hold on. So you do that, you know. You allow them to be themselves and say, you know, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be that way for a period of time. Even God said that. He said, don't let the sun go down on your anger. He said, meaning don't be angry all the time. Don't be, you know, don't stay angry.
Right.
You know.
That's good.
It's okay.
Yeah, man, this was good, man. So we're gonna wrap up this one here today. What I want to do is, Coach, I want to have you come back on Thursday. And maybe on Thursday we'll get into some of the things you and your wife are doing today. You know, we'll talk about the impact you're making in the community, the difference you're making, and all that kind of stuff. We'll come back with that on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Leave us some comments. You know, let us know what you thought. Share, like our page, and my book as well, which Coach Duke has here. Make sure you get a copy of that on JarmanInternational.com. Check it out. Coach Duke's gonna be passing this along to a lot of the youth that he works with. So, thank you for that plug. So, all right, you guys have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Perfect.